In the heart of Lagos, where the hum of traffic and the rhythm of life never ceased, lived a young girl named Bisi. She had known pain since she was just a child. Her mother had died in a car accident when Bisi was barely 5, and her father, who had once promised to love and protect her, succumbed to a mysterious illness when Bisi was only 10. Left with no family but her stepmother, Seyi, Bisi quickly learned that love, in this new home, was something she would never know. Seyi, a woman as beautiful as she was cruel, had no fondness for Bisi. Her only concern was her biological daughter Tolu, who was the apple of her eye. Bisi was nothing more than an obstacle, a burden to be tolerated. She spent her days cleaning, cooking, and running endless errands for, who took pleasure in making Bisi's life as miserable as possible. Why can't you be more like Tolu? Look at how perfect she is. Seyi would sneer as Bisi scrubbed the kitchen floor, the harsh words stinging her soul. Bisi never responded. What could she say? She didn't want to add fuel to the fire. She would simply nod, her eyes lowered in submission, as Tolu walked by, laughing and carefree, oblivious to the weight of Bisi's burdens. But despite the cruelty, Bisi clung to one dream, an impossible dream. She wanted to be a doctor. Ever since she could remember, she had been fascinated by the human body, by the idea of healing. She remembered her mother telling her stories about people who had changed the world with their knowledge and compassion. It was that knowledge, that dream, that kept Ada going when every day seemed a mountain too steep to climb. She had been a bright student in primary school, and she yearned for more, an education, a future where she could escape this oppressive life. But Seyi saw no use in it. There's no money for that nonsense, Bisi, Seyi would say. Your father's gone. I'm the only one left to care for you, and the only thing you'll be doing is cleaning. You'll never amount to anything more. Still, Bisi didn't give up. In the silence of her room, after Seyi's cruel tirades, Bisi would read from an old, tattered book she had found in the attic. Every night, as the rest of the house slept, the flickering candlelight illuminated her determined face. Her mother had given her that book, a gift of knowledge that Bisi held onto like a lifeline. One afternoon, as Bisi worked outside in the compound, her teacher, Mr. Okafor, visited. He had been Bisi's favorite teacher during her years in primary school, and he had always recognized her potential. Bisi, he began softly, I came to talk to you about something. You've always been an outstanding student. It would be a shame to waste that. Bisi's heart leapt. But I can't continue school. Aunt Seyi said there's no money. Mr. Okafor's face tightened with frustration. I don't care what Seyi says. I've found some scholarship opportunities for you. You deserve to go to school. You deserve to have a chance. Bisi's eyes shone with a mix of hope and fear. Do you think I could really go? I believe in you, Bisi. More than anyone else does. Bisi rushed home that evening, filled with excitement, but when she told Seyi about the scholarship opportunity, the response was immediate and dismissive. Scholarship? What scholarship? Seyi barked, her voice cold. You're nothing but a servant in my house. Stop dreaming, Bisi. You're never going anywhere. But Bisi, driven by hope and a sense of destiny, could not be swayed. Encouraged by Mama Nkechi, an elderly neighbor who had always been kind to her, Bisi secretly applied for the scholarship. When the letter arrived, Bisi could hardly believe it. She had been accepted. The victory should have been sweet, but Seyi's bitterness was like a poison. Instead of celebrating, Seyi's face twisted with anger. I told you to stay in your place, Bisi, she hissed. This is all your fault. Do you think you're better than us? Despite Seyi's rage, Bisi packed her bags and left for the boarding school. As she boarded the bus, she glanced back at the home that had been nothing but a prison to her. Little did she know, Seyi had already begun plotting her downfall. The school Bisi had entered was strict, its reputation for discipline and justice was well known. But Seyi had contacts there, and she bribed someone to plant stolen items in Bisi's school bag. When the authorities found the items, they accused Bisi of theft. The teachers didn't listen to her desperate pleas of innocence, the stigma already attached to her. The day she was expelled, Mr. Okafor had tried to intervene. He had pleaded with the school, but the evidence against her was overwhelming. Bisi has been a model student, he had said. She would never steal. You have to believe me. But Bisi's past followed her like a shadow. Without any proof to clear her name, the verdict was swift: expulsion. Heartbroken and confused, Bisi returned home, seeking solace in the only family she had left. But Seyi greeted her with cruelty. "A thief and a failure," Seyi spat. "Get out of my house. You're no longer welcome here." Bisi, trembling with grief, stepped out into the cold night, with nothing but the clothes on her back. She wandered the streets of Lagos, hungry and exhausted, until she collapsed on the roadside. It was there that fate intervened. A kind woman named Madame Ejiro, who ran a charity for abandoned children, found Bisi. Her compassionate eyes softened when she saw the frail girl lying there, broken. "You're safe now," Madame Ejiro whispered, lifting Bisi into her arms. "We'll take care of you." Bisi was nursed back to health, and Madame Ejiro enrolled her in school once more. The woman's gentle guidance and firm belief in Bisi's potential gave her the courage to believe in herself again. Years passed, and Bisi's transformation was nothing short of miraculous. She excelled in her studies, earning her medical degree with honors. She married Kunal, a successful businessman she had met during her time in university, and secured a prestigious position at an international firm. Life had come full circle, but Bisi never forgot her humble beginnings. Meanwhile, Seyi's life had unraveled. Bad investments and betrayal from close friends left her bankrupt. Tolu, once the pride of her life, spiraled into rebellion and irresponsibility, squandering whatever little money they had left. Homeless and destitute, they wandered the streets of Lagos, clinging to their shattered pride. One day, Seyi and Tolu stumbled into a charity event organized by a renowned NGO. Desperation had driven them there, and they were hoping for help. The guests at the event were wealthy, and Seyi felt the sting of shame as she looked at her dirty clothes and sickly daughter. As they entered, Bisi, dressed in an elegant gown, stood at the podium, sharing her story with the crowd. "From the streets to success," Bisi said, her voice calm but filled with strength. "It's the belief in yourself that will carry you through the darkest times." When Seyi and Bisi's eyes met, it was as if time stood still. Seyi's heart sank, her pride cracking under the weight of regret. She tried to turn away, but her legs gave out, and she collapsed. Bisi rushed to her side without hesitation. "Mama Seyi," she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. Seyi broke down, tears streaming down her face. "I'm sorry, Bisi. I was wrong. I was cruel. I didn't deserve your kindness." Bisi knelt beside her, her heart heavy yet full of compassion. "Kindness isn't about what you deserve, Mama. It's about who I choose to be." Bisi helped Seyi and Tolu to their feet, offering them food, shelter, and warmth without judgment. It wasn't easy. Seyi had been harsh, but Bisi understood that healing took time. Over the months that followed, Seyi worked humbly as a housekeeper in Bisi's home. She was grateful, her heart filled with remorse, but also a new understanding of the strength it took to forgive. Tolu, too, began to rebuild her life, inspired by Bisi's generosity. As time passed, Seyi's health began to fail, her body weakened by years of hardship and regret. On her final days, Bisi sat by her bedside, holding her fragile hand. Seyi's voice was faint but clear. "Thank you, Bisi, for showing me what love truly means. You saved me more than I ever saved you." With tears shining in her eyes, Bisi gently squeezed Seyi's frail hand and whispered, "I should thank you too, for the lessons you unknowingly taught me. It was your actions that made me stronger and fueled my determination. Without it, I might never have discovered the strength within me to rise." Soon, the sickness overtook her, and not long after, she passed away, leaving behind heartfelt words of wisdom. "Wickedness never pays. Always choose love," she had whispered in her final days. Bisi buried her quietly, side by side with Tolu, the ceremony simple yet filled with unspoken emotions. In the days that followed, Bisi's grace continued to shine like a beacon of light. Her story transcended triumph. It became a profound testament to the power of forgiveness and the enduring resilience of the human spirit. The end. Thank you so much for joining us in this emotional journey through Bisi's life. Bisi's story teaches two very important moral lessons. 1. The power of resilience. No matter how difficult life may seem, our dreams and determination can help us overcome even the darkest challenges. 2. The strength of forgiveness. Even in the face of cruelty, choosing compassion over bitterness can heal not only others but ourselves. If you found inspiration in Bisi's journey, please give this video a like, leave a comment sharing your thoughts, and don't forget to share it with others so we can continue to grow this beautiful community. Your support helps spread messages of hope, resilience, and forgiveness. Until next time, take care and stay strong.